Hi, I hope you're well. Um, I know when I last posted something, it was a little vague and worrying, maybe, but I'm alright. Uh, Not really, but um, I'm alive, so I got that going for me. I wanted to talk about death as a concept and um, where, where do people go when they die? Um, Assuming you're watching this, listening, and whatnot, you're probably alive. So we both have in common the fact that one day we're gonna die. Death is maybe one of the most existential subjects a living being can face. It's also really uniquely human to struggle with it. I don't think there are a lot of animals that we know of that really kind of grapple with a topic like that. I think everyone knows what death is. It's the opposite of life. It's this force of nature. It's huge. It's unstoppable. It's like the tides of the ocean or the phases of the moon. We can't control it. Can't control who it happens to, who it doesn't happen to. There's kind of consequences and kind of moral compass assigned to whatever it is that happens after you die. It's like a cosmic judgment, I guess. In ancient Egypt, you have a god like Anubis. I believe he has the head of a jackal. He's kind of known for guiding souls into the afterlife. There's one called Osiris too. It's known more as god of the afterlife instead of the god of death, and he kind of serves as like a judge of the dead. You see this too in ancient Greece, Thanatos and Hades, I think it is. Um, God of the underworld, god of death. Um, Thanatos is the god of death. Hades is the god of the underworld. And ancient Rome too, they have a god of death known as Pluto, and they're all very, very big on what happens after death. They play very heavily into the idea that there is life after life. That Even when someone dies, there is some kind of residual consciousness that remains, that they're not completely gone. I think there's also an element of ego to this when it comes to human beings. It kind of says in a way that even if we die, we're still kind of invincible in a way, and I just feels kind of prideful. It's kind of naive to me too that we would assume that kind of fairness happens, and even in light of unfairness on Earth, really unfairness that someone who wouldn't deserve it at all would die, someone who had a whole life ahead of him, someone who by all means could have lived very happy, successful, and full life. God damn it. The afterlife hasn't been proved in any way. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, for all the delusional religious nuts you have convinced that there is something after death, you'll have a dozen scientists who can disprove it. It really is probably not real at all. I mean, it's so incredibly human to assign these kinds of lifelike characteristics to death that we're really just too biased to know for sure. We're biased by nature to personify even something as not lively as death. It's a way to comfort us. That's something I've found. It's very comforting to think that there is something after death, that even if someone is dead, it doesn't necessarily mean there's nothing left of them. Even if he's gone, I could convince myself maybe he's not really gone, not completely, but I can see how, for a lot of people, to think that someone they lost was just completely gone, they would never see them again, it could just very easily be too much to handle. So I could understand why someone would want to believe that there is an afterlife. If you've ever heard of near death experiences, you might know that there's a number of people who believe that they have seen glimpses into the afterlife. There's so many stories, accounts, and like instances of this happening that I don't think I could read through all of them if I tried, but there are a lot of common themes. I don't know if these are hallucinations or the last of some dying neurons firing in their brains, but these people seem to have felt just this incredible amount of peace and kind of understanding, kind of acceptance for the situation that they were in. They kind of associate this feeling of being near death, close to death, not with being close to something bad, but being close to this state of almost cosmic understanding. I try to understand it, some kind of fundamental truth about life and death that they seem to be let in on when they have these near death experiences, but I don't I don't I don't know what it could mean. I don't I haven't figured that out yet. But, maybe it is just hallucinations. Electricity making you see things or experience things in a moment that would be otherwise extremely traumatic. That's probably what it is. Obviously, we can't ask anyone who's died how they felt, but surely if these people who came near to death didn't feel incredible pain, even for people who did pass, maybe I also didn't feel pain. People who are religious, they're right. It is comforting, more comforting than the alternative. As for what's left behind, dead things, obviously they decompose. They emit gases, carbon dioxide and methane and a bunch of other stuff I didn't know existed until I researched this. A lot of it's byproducts of bacteria, breaking down the physical remnants of the body in certain conditions. A body, if it's just laying out in the open, the humidity and the bacteria, it can break a body down to just a skeleton in a matter of weeks. If a body's put in a casket, though, it's like embalmed, and the process, I think, involves a lot of chemicals that kind of preserve the body. A body in a casket can deteriorate at a lot slower rates. It could be a decade before a body in a casket turns into a skeleton. I feel a little conflicted knowing that, because in a way, death is a natural process, and I don't know if kind of playing God like that is right. If someone like that is gone, maybe it's just for the best to let nature run its course. I don't like the idea that if I died out in the woods tomorrow, I could be a skeleton in a month. And in that same time, I can't know for sure what happens after death, if anything. But at the very least, the dirt I break down into, uh, that gets mixed into the earth, might one day mix into the same dirt that used to be people I knew and loved. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough. I don't really know how to put a conclusion to this. I'm still figuring this all out, but Uh, Hopefully you guys don't mind. I didn't really clean up before I did this. It kind of came on really suddenly. I didn't even realize I was going to record a video this week until I was already finished writing a bunch of stuff down. But um, it is what it is, I guess. Um, I'll see you guys next week, though. I don't, I don't think I can take that break. So I'll see you guys next week. Yeah, take care.